Hey everyone, it's time for another mini sketchbook tour, and I sort of called this one my patterns sketchbook because I was just been obsessed with drawing patterns, and this is just the perfect size to draw several patterns without getting very bored. So this entire sketchbook is pretty much full of patterns of different textures, as you can see. Of course, different colors, different materials. I've used colored pencils and markers in here. I'd say about half and half of the sketchbook is me browsing Pinterest for patterns, sometimes even tiles patterns, like tile work in like bathrooms and stuff like that for patterns. And I've also just sort of came up with a couple of them on my own. This one especially is, you're gonna see this one a dozen times in here because it's one of my favorite patterns to do. There's also some ones that are not my favorite, some that I just kind of drew to fill in that page or just to pass some time. So some of these are not amazing compared to some other ones that are more of my favorite rather than these very plain pages. But I'd say that patterns have become a really fun way to pass time, to draw, to try to get out of art block. Like I said, even though some of these may be uglier than the rest, what matters the most is that I spent time doing art rather than doing nothing or, you know, struggling to get into it. This is one of my favorite pages. I love the color combination, and of course that is my favorite pattern to draw. These stars have taken over my life, honestly. And I tried a different color combination here. This is a very interesting one in my opinion, and some of these are just very strange, like just some random swirls. A lot of these are pretty much self-explanatory if it's like plaid or checkerboard, but for some of these are a little bit more complicated, like this random like starburst sort of looking thing where I do like a gradient of those yellow colors, and some are a little strange. Like I said, you can barely see that it's like a red orange gradient in the background, but some random blobs. If you struggle to get out of art block or just to like start drawing in general, I highly recommend getting smaller sketchbooks. It is way less pressure to fill the page because it is like 5 times smaller than a normal size sketchbook, and it is just so much easier and relaxing to draw in here. I have, since starting getting these little sketchbooks, I've barely touched my larger sketchbook, so I don't think I'll ever have a sketchbook tour for that one because I just have not been drawing in there. Since I finished this one, I went up and picked another one, of course. So I think I'm sticking with the smaller sketchbooks, plus they're just so much easier to store and just a lot more fun to draw in. I sort of had like an unspoken rule with these, is to do like a couple of pages in colored pencil and then the next couple of pages in markers, and then to repeat that pattern. I eventually broke that pattern and just did whatever material I wanted to use at the moment, which sort of ended up being mostly marker. If you count the pages, a couple of, I think it's like 5 and 5, like 5 colored pencil pages, 5 marker pages. I don't know how that started. There's not even an even number of pages to complete that pattern in here. But I just, actually there might be, never mind. I just enjoyed having a pattern within a pattern. Oh my god. This is a weird mosaic sort of thing. I hate the color combination, but I think the mosaic thing is super cool. So maybe I'll try that again in my new sketchbook. Oh, if you recognize this, this is my desk mat. And let's get that out real quick. I tried to, it's camouflage. I sort of did like a camouflage thing where it matches the mat, but I couldn't find the right spot and I did not feel like doing it at the moment. So I just, you got the idea, right? It looks just like my mat. This is also a fun one. It's super simple, but it's almost like an optical illusion. So it's a little interesting to look at. And I think this is exactly where I started like not doing patterns. I think I sort of ran out of patterns to do, so I just kind of drew anything I could find or think of. Like these are just some swirls, those are some lemons. So I just got very strange towards the other half of the sketchbook, but I eventually did find a couple of patterns here and there to do, and I also brought it back to doing some older patterns that I am obsessed with, like this one, although the greens did not do well of a gradient than I thought I would, even though I tested them so many times. And you know, I just really wanted to try to fill every page, so I really try my best to completely fill these little pages. Eventually that can fall apart, and I just really love these simple ones, even though they take like 2 seconds to do, you know, just some lines and horizontal stripes. Just very fun and easy and just very random. There were a couple times where I tried to challenge myself by doing different color palettes. Like, this is not a typical color palette that I would choose from, so I tried to challenge myself as best as I can in here, and this is when I got that larger pack of colored pencils, a bunch of swatches, so I can go back and refer to a color without like trying to search for it, because looking at a color pencil might not be the color that you think it is. So I thought this would be fun to also just fill a bunch of pages doing a bunch of swatches, and I had to do them a couple times because you can see I sort of messed up on the order there. But if you are looking at getting colored pencils that are super pigmented, I recommend Prismacolors, because look at how pigmented and gorgeous these colors are. And I really can't remember what this leftover paint is from, but I just tried to fill up a page with some leftover paint without wasting it. This is another fun one. I originally just did a notebook lines in the background of these drawings, and I was just sort of gonna leave it like that because I thought that would look really cool in a sketchbook, and I just drew some things over it, and I put the date and my name like you would on like a notebook like that if you're like in school or something. And I sort of got a little bored at this point in time. You can tell, like, just using random things just to fill the pages. This is another cool one, a bunch of lockers. I was like, oh, these are sort of in a pattern, so it was recurring lockers, and I did a couple of locks on each of the locker things, and I tried a purple starbursting, also not a super great one. And you might have seen these in a studio vlog of mine where I just drew a couple of pages in my sketchbook, a couple of patterns. This is around when I was really obsessed with drawing cakes and desserts. So on the right is not a great like big cake thing, but the left was like a sundae, and then I drew another slice of cake and then tried to do another ice cream sundae sort of thing. You can tell when I am like losing motivation, and then you can also tell when it comes back up. This is a really interesting page. I just drew like a bunch of, I think this was an image of cakes, and so I used a couple of different markers to do like the frosting and like the cake shapes. So there's some hearts and round cakes, and this was just a page of using my gray marker because I don't really use it that much. And this is where I did a study of that bouquet of flowers and that little adorable kitty cat and this beautiful 4-leaf clover. I loved using blue for shadows rather than a different color. I think it's just a really fun way to add color. Here's another one among the strange and random. I tried to draw a raccoon just from memory and it didn't look great, so I tried to save the page by drawing my cat, and it also looks very strange. I tried doing one of those 0.5 images of things, so I drew my desk. As you can see, there's my hand holding the sketchbook as I was drawing it. So that I did really enjoy drawing that page, and I would like to try more of those things. Just did it very, very quickly, probably watching a YouTube video. What's so funny is watching this back is I can remember what I was watching on TV while drawing in these. I could tell you what show I was watching, what YouTube video I was watching. It's just so interesting. It just, the memory comes back from what I was doing at the moment of that sketchbook page. Do you have that sort of thing where you can look at something and just remember what you were doing that day, or even when you were watching? While I was watching this, I was like, oh, I was watching that show. Oh my god, I remember the episode I was watching. It was just like so surreal. And we're down to the last couple of pages where I really just wanted to finish the sketchbook so I can get a new one. I'm not really looking for references here. Here's a couple, and then I draw it and look at it and like, I hate this. I don't want to draw anymore. And I just tried to keep trying. I don't know why I don't really use pencils in these sketchbooks, which means that the drawing will sometimes turn out like crap. So that's why I went back to doing patterns again, and that made me feel a little better. But then I was like, I'm just doing patterns. But then I was also like, who cares? This is my sketchbook. I could fill a sketchbook doing 100 colors of just this pattern, and maybe I will, who knows. Anyways, so I did a bunch of colors of these, and then on the left I thought I had a painting idea, and then I drew the little person and I was like, I hate this. And then I tried to draw an actual person because I was like, if I can't draw people, I gotta look at them. So that failed there, so I tried it again, so much better. And then I did like some outlining and it looks really nice. And on the right, that's when I got my new 2 Tombow markers. I got 2 new colors. I got a purple and a red. So I did some patterns using those very colors. So beautiful and bright. Love the red. And the purple is just like a really, really nice, like cool tone. This is the very last page. I decided to do a double page like overlapping drawing because I haven't done one of those in a very long time, and I just drew somebody with this really cool hairstyle. I actually did this in pencil. You probably seen me draw this, and that was the last page of the sketchbook. And here's a nice little quick flip through. So pretty, all these lovely colors and patterns. I have a continuous amount of fun drawing in these tiny sketchbooks, even if the drawings are pretty crappy. I just have a great time just spending time drawing in these, and I will continue to get more. But I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.